And the enemy's going straight for me. I saw with this small group of units that he's attacking. So I've got my tank, base defense. There was a flamethrower there. Come on. Just get these vehicles out of the way.
Battle control initialized.
Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder. It's Dvoid here. I've got a 1v1 multiplayer game, and this one is on Anar map. This is the balance iteration 3.5, so it's a new updated version. You know, there'll be a few changes and basics, few alterations, balances, etc. And it looks like both players are using France for this game. We've got Dodder and Dvoid, who's Eugenator, he's known as, but Dvoid is his most common name. That's what I know him by. So Dodder versus Dvoid, both using France on Anar map. So let's see what we've got here. It looks like there's an engineer there. He's going for a capture, and then he's been ordered to walk around. So, yeah, fair enough. But this guy's got a couple of medics as well. Now, medics are very useful in this early game. If he can actually get them into play, they'll win you no end of engagements, because 1 or 2 rifles will be outmatched by the healing ability of a medic. So as long as you're not under too much fire, they can give you a real advantage in the early game, just like the Soviet dogs can. But because both players are allies, this is their early game unit. It's the medic. Their early game specialist unit. Like I say, the Soviets' early game specialist unit would be the dog. And it looks like Dvoid is going for an odd build. He's gone for War Factory first. He hasn't even got barracks. So by all rights, you should send in your a rifleman. But by the time the rifleman gets a good view on that, because of the sandbags blocking his way, he'll probably have changed the situation. But I don't go for this kind of build. I don't even think... Look, he won't even have any extra money. This guy's got 2... look, he's got 2 already, but this guy's been mining with 2 refineries. And he's got an army. So it's just... I don't see the benefit of this build. Yeah, if you can get away with it, then fair enough. It'll probably pay off soon. But, yeah, he's got a light tank. Now he's selling sandbags. And Dodder has captured his second oil derrick here, and he's sent a rifleman to investigate. That's very wise, because he's seen no presence from the enemy as yet. And now he is training rifleman Dvoid. He's got 2 light tanks. Interesting. I would have thought he'd go for a ranger with a light tank. He's getting a 3rd light tank, in fact. So let's see, yes, Dodder's trained some rocket soldiers, and he's got his own light tank. And here we go. You see, this rifleman's been ordered to move here, but his pathing is altered by the sandbag barrier. So it means he had to go round here, and obviously these guys are waiting for him. Now, you see, that's been ordered there. It'll go straight through because it's a vehicle and it can crush sandbags. A concrete wall, it would have to have gone round and been spotted. But look at that. Bullets bounce off armour. No problem. You take very little damage. But this light tank is now leading anyone who pursues it into an ambush. Although 4 light tanks would definitely squash a fair few infantry. And look, we've got an early eco raid. And he's backed off with that. And he's bringing his light tanks. There you go, there's the first one down. Some crushes. And they're not targeting that light tank. It needs to... That light tank can escape now. Not bad at all. And I would say Dodder still has a superior army, which he does. Even after those losses, you know, I don't agree with these builds, but it's soon recovered, and it, you know, he's got a. Now it pays off. Now these guys, that's bad. Not only are they in attack move, they're in a. They've got the numbers, but yeah, they'd have been better off if they'd have stayed still. But he did win that engagement without a vehicle and with an inferior formation, but it was just down to numbers in that case. You know, you can always use skillful control of your units and things like that and fight more efficiently. But if your enemy has large numbers, too many for you to deal with, those numbers will just overwhelm any, you know, tactics you use. Within reason, of course. You know, you can shell a large group of enemy infantry with artillery. If they let you, you can kill them all. But, you know, it's a balance between skill and numbers. If you've got large numbers of units, it means you don't have to use quite as much skill, although a combination of the two, of course, is best, because if you're really skillful and with a really good game sense, plus you've got a large force and you're fighting efficiently, you know, it's going to be hard to stop you. But we've got an 8,000 army value to a 5,000 army value so far. Dodder has got the 8, Dury has got 5, so he hasn't caught up with army value yet, and his cash is low. And yeah, Dodder is moving forward, doing all the scouting. You see, he's got a couple of light tanks there. They are very good for harassment light tanks. And Dodder's got a 10,000 value army. Dury has just reached 7. And these light tanks are harassing the enemy here. And he's responded perfectly with a couple of rocket soldiers. And that'll drive them off. Yeah, he's still got his other assets. You see, he's moving here because he knows these tanks are going to be ordered to continue their eco-raids and harassment. So look, he's a smart player, he's heading them off, and this is more than enough to deal with 2 light tanks. If they stay near you, these rockets will pulverise them. But Dodder has discovered Dury's expansion here, and he's got a nice little force with them, basics, and he's starting to catch up. It's 12,000 to Dodder, 11,000 to Dury now, so he's catching up. That vulnerability early on, he's got away with it. And Dodder's moving in. It looks like he's got light tanks though. He's going to suffer from that. But look at the numbers of rocket soldiers he's got. It won't matter. Now, Dury's wise to back off. But I would have used these 2 tanks to screen my base defences. And then build up what infantry I can to defend this. But I suppose it's not easy knowing what to do. Dodder's got a larger force, the player in blue. And he's got an aggressive base push here. So, Dury's gathering his army, 15,000 to 14,000. And I wonder what he's going to do. These 2 light tanks have taken out obviously took out that oil derrick, and now they're moving back for harassment. This is an eco-raid, but he won't... There we go, we've got an engagement here, but he won't see them because they're out of range there, look. He's moved in now, so yeah, you can see. But we've got, it looks like there's an engagement here, 18 to 16,000. Look at all those rockets, there's so many. Any tanks that go near those infantry are going to get pulverised, and the orange player, Dury, is fighting into the blue Dodder's view range. Now, these medics are helping keep him alive, that's what's helped. It did tip the disadvantage of having the enemy view range on you, but just those numbers and the medics kept them alive. You see, there was 5 medics there, they did very well. Now that's reversed the situation. Dury has now got 14,000, Dodder's got 10,000, so the blue player's struggling. He's in a bad situation, and he's turned his base push into an expansion, and Dury has definitely got this, in my judgment. There's less tanks, but it doesn't matter, the mass and the medics, look at that, just wiped it. And now there's nothing left, really, for Dodder. He's got a 2 grand army value. Dury has a 12,000 army value, and he's expanding here. And Dodder's even selling base defences, so he's struggling. He's taking a few shots at the oil derrick, but he's not capturing it. Yes, he is, look, there's an engineer. That's the first thing I would have done in that situation. But these guys are basically idle, and Dodder will slowly creep up in army value, so we'll see what happens, see what Dury does. Dodder's actually got tech, he's got a radar dome there. Dury went for a second war factory. And here we go, they're bumping into base defences and getting slaughtered, so he needs to pull them back. And he's got an MCV moving with him, but this force He doesn't want to attack into defences and this. He's got enough there to stop it. So yeah, he's wise. Look, these players are good. They know what they're doing. It's just they don't quite seem on their usual form to me. I mean, this force has just stayed around the middle and done very little after that advantage. Now it's 18 to 9,000 in army value. So it's a threat now. Dodder's army is now a threat again, when it wasn't. But look, here we go. Dury is sending these forces here. That's nice little flank attack. Although I would have gone that way. Be a bit quicker. Move more quickly. He's got tanks, providing a good screening. Look at those 3 turrets. Yeah, you don't want to be a tank near them. 3 turrets. Even a mammoth tank don't want that. You just get pulverised. And here we go. The engineer has been caught out by turret, of all things. Now, Dury's got a 20,000 army value, Dodder's got a 15,000, so basically, even though that's not even, you know, either army value isn't in either player's favour now, positioning is more important when you've got those numbers. Yeah, he's got a 5-6 grand advantage, but it's not important. If your positioning is bad, it won't matter. And he's using Blackhawks to spot the enemy's position. Oh, look at that. Blackhawks chew infantry apart. Very nicely, look. Very effective. And this player's moving back. I don't know what he's doing. Why is he going there? Now, Blue has hit him here. But he has... Oh, look, he's lost all those ore trucks. Now, these mechanics, in my opinion, should steal them. Or at least fix the tanks again. He's losing mechanics to rifles. That was a nice shot. Saved him. But he's not reviving any vehicles that I've noticed. He's trying to repair. And look, idle. Yeah, the chance has gone for Dury. Dodder's now got the advantage, although this was a nice eco raid with 2 tanks taking out, clearing, making this so it's not earning anymore. Very nice. 20 to 18,000 in army value. So, why have these guys been idle for so long? Now he's doing something with them. And he hasn't tried to defend this. This isn't even running. No selling, so he's half asleep. I think he fell asleep and he's just woken up. And is losing. Yeah. What's this force going to do against that? Nothing. And it's a small force. It's a small force. There you go. He's called it before he even launched his attack. That was bizarre. It was like he fell asleep and just decided to give it up. Very strange, that one. I'll go through the combat graphs and charts. There's the army graph. Look. Yeah, look at that. At the 9th minute, Dodder was just... blasted apart his army. Dury could have taken it there and then. It should have been a 10-minute game and over, but it wasn't. He allowed him to recover, and if you allow a competent player to recover, that's the end of you. Or you may as well, you've wasted your advantage. That's all that matters. There's the earnings graph. They both did okay for earnings. They're competent players. They had a decent build and expansion. It's just... how long those orange units were idle for is bizarre. But there's Dodder's finishing army. He's got a good force, and he's got Tanya, helicopters, artillery. It's a good force. 20,000 army value. So yeah, he deserved the win. You know, if Dury should have won, but if he didn't finish the game, then he didn't finish the game, and Dodder did. He didn't give up. He fought on, and with a 2 grand army value, a lot of players would have called it there. But you know, he's got enough heart to continue and fight on, enough spirit. It's not the largest army or the strongest player that wins a game. It's the player who wants it the most. It's the player with the strongest spirit that wins, not the strongest army. You know, it's just how it is. And Dodder killed 156 units. Dury killed 172. Dodder killed 51,000 credits worth of his opponent's assets. Dury killed 39,000 credits worth of his opponent's assets. So it was a close fight still. And why on earth Dury surrendered with this army here? I suppose he just saw Tanya helicopters and thought, right. But I don't get it. I would have, if I thought it was over, I would have split that force up to send small eco raids here and there, and then distraction and try and rebuild an army in the meantime and stop this small force. You could have turned that around. You know, it's just sleepy, I guess. GPS satellite. So he's got his support powers. Dodder has got up to the top tech level. He's got his tech center, so he's counting down his GPS and producing a tech center again. He's got a tech center, but he's building another tech center. Maybe he held shift when he ordered that to be built, so maybe he would have ended up with 5, perhaps. But he's building the rest. Units, helicopters, blah-de-blah. Held on to his oil derricks. He's got 7 ore trucks, despite losing the odd one. He's running out of cash. Good job he finished it. His opponent called it there and then. But Dodder's at 33 actions per minute. Dury was at 36. There's your scores, 504, 416. And I'm going to add a second replay to this one. This was one of the first games I saw today, you see, because I'm spectating it, look, Dvoid, and watching these two play. But I'll add another replay to it. I think I'll add the last game I played to this replay, just like I say, as usual, to make it a bit more substantial. So, welcome to this one. It's a 1v1 multiplayer game on Trask map. I'm using Russia, and my opponent is also using Russia. So that's 2 double faction games, mirror matches. 2 France, and then 2 Russian faction games. So here we go. This is, I've started using Trask again more often, and it looks like my player's got a similar plan to me. I send a rifleman to secure this area, and then I send an engineer to capture it, and the engineer gets a command to capture this, and then a shift command to capture that straight after it. And it looks like my opponent has actually sent his engineer first, and I've sent a couple of rifles this way. Now I am reducing the number of rifles I can have in a single group, but I think it's important to cover when you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 oil derricks, you know, and a 5th neutral structure in the centre. It's important to know where your enemy is and things, and you got a good chance of catching them out. But my opponent sent 2 rifles to escort his engineer, although they're moving straight up. But his engineer has been ordered to capture that, and then the hospital. My engineer's on his way now to capture my 2nd oil derrick, and my opponent's is doing the same. We're about at the same progress. Now, I've got a rifle guarding the oil derrick. Just missed them. But I'm trying to catch the engineer as he goes between oil derricks, and I got him, look. There you go, I killed the engineer. And in case the enemy wants to kill that unit, I'll swap it for a standard rifleman, and that way I save the veteran. Plus, the enemy thinks they've dealt with the nuisance rifle, but they haven't. He's there. I've kept the veteran alive, and he's also going to stay and guard that in case he sends another engineer straight away. But my opponent's doing the same. He's sent units between my oil derricks to catch me, just like I did to him. So we're doing similar things, but here's my engineer. He's escorted by rifles, and the new infantry I'm training at the 2-minute mark are going to rally here. So there's 2 riflemen from my opponent, hoping to intercept some of my units. Hopefully an engineer is thinking. Let's just have a look at some initial army values. 3 grand each, just over. And these 2 rifles are in a good place. Look how close to my engineer they are. And my opponent, I can't see another engineer anywhere yet. So we've got 1 oil derrick to my opponent. I've got 2 oil derricks. But I'm waiting for my scout vehicle before I attack here. And I don't know if he's captured it or not. I've got to be careful. There's my engineer, look. And he's got a scout vehicle. I've got to watch that. I moved in too soon. I haven't got my scout vehicle with me yet. And there's my... You see, it's too late. There's my veteran. Now, I saw very few rockets, but they've got me. And I was trying to keep my rifles alive. And I continued to push it. And these guys are veterans, so they're killed. But I've got my engineer, look. And my veteran. They've caught him, sadly. Now, my engineer's running back, and my opponent did what I did, just in a different place, and he's caught it. Very nicely done, and I was trying to get my engineer and keep him safe. and he caught him out. But as it stands, I've got 2 oil derricks and my opponent's got 1. So it's okay, and I'm guarding this one in case he sends an engineer and it's lazy and he doesn't protect it. But neither of us got an engineer at the moment. Although my opponent's got double the army value because I've lost my APC and most of my troops, so I'm in trouble here, and I know he's got rifles there, so I know I have to deal with them and prepare for an attack in case he rallies a decent group of units and attacks me. I've got to prepare for that. But here's an APC again, and I decided to build that instead of a heavy tank before I built my MCV. Look, there you go. He's caught another rifleman out. So this is starting to irritate me. I'm not going to send my APC and lose it and lose infantry just for 1 man. So I'm just staying calm and I'm going to send some more. There's a rocket soldier dying to him. There, got him, luckily. Now, I've lost all those infantry and thought, right, I'm not sending the APC in. So I'm making a few mistakes here. But my enemy's lost some units. But he's got 2 flak trucks for harassment. Look. And the flak trucks are attacking and I can't see. So that's why I'm putting this up front to give me better view range. There you go, there's my first expansion. My opponent, I can't see one as yet. Maybe he's distracted. And there you see these flak trucks are so irritating. There you go, there's my opponent's expansion, MCV. I've got mine set up. I'm about to place my refinery, my expansion refinery here. 6,000 army value to me, 8,000 to my opponent. And look, these flak trucks are going on a harassment mission, but he's looking to see if I'm expanding here, but I don't. I go here first. In the last time I posted a game on this map, I did expand here first, but that's a rarity, it's a one-off. Normally I expand here and harvest these 2 ore patches quickly, and it also enables me to protect 2 oil derricks fairly effectively. Now this is usually the first expansion you should go to because it's a large double mine ore patch. So here we go. I've actually got a gren drop. I've put 5 grenadiers inside the APC. I'm moving out with what tanks I can. And look, I've sent a scout. It's telling me where the enemy is. So I know he's here. And I think, right, I've got to react. I have to do something. So it means building up some defensive units, base defences, ordering my tanks to defend my base, while still having enough units to attack here. And I just want to hit him. You see, there's my scout. It's told me what's there. There you go. Look, I can see his power plant. So that's the first thing to go. I'm going to smash it and hopefully drop him into low power. But there you go. I've got a tank. He's joining the front line. And I don't want to engage until I've got my vehicles up front. But there's my grenadier drop, my APC. And now I'm attacking. Let's see the enemy's reaction. He's launching a big counter-attack. I'm going to punch straight through here, no problem, and send the grenadier. There you see, it's been ordered round there. And the enemy's going straight for me. I saw with this small group of units that he's attacking. So I've got my tank, base defence. There was a flamethrower there. Come on. Just get these vehicles out of the way. And then it's a lot of, and you see I'm placing these barracks while I'm attacking at the same time myself. There's my grenadier drop. Here's my attack. I'm going for his main eco supply. And look, he's punching through my defences, but I'm still fighting. And here is my APC. There's a lot to keep track of. Look, he's cut through most of my defences at my home base, although I've done the same. Now, here's my grenadier drop. I'm hitting his base, and then I've gone for the service depot. Now, my opponent's destroyed my service depot and my home base MCV. I couldn't move it away in time. I was fumbling to move it, and I think I pressed the power button instead of the Alt key. So I had to cancel it, and then my MCV got destroyed before I could Alt move it out of there. But I'm overrunning his base, no problem. I've got my grenadier drop to help. And I'm letting him destroy this. But look what I've got. I've got base defences, a barracks, 2 refineries and a power plant here. He hasn't finished my base off, but I've completely annihilated his. Now, I've got a decent force here, but all my important thing that I've got to do is get this war factory placed. So the timing is perfect. At least I can place it and have vehicles. So still ready to place. There you go, I've placed it. So now I need to build APCs. And I've got my Gren drop still, it survived. I've got all 5 Grenadiers in that APC safe. So I'm going to hit another target and my opponent's attacking here. So he's left this intact. And I've got a decent army intact. Let's look at our army values. 12,000 to me, 9,000 to my opponent. And look, he's taken out another ore truck, but he's moving around. He's not going through my defences. That's wise. But I knew he was doing that. So I had to try and prepare my defences elsewhere, and I'm going straight through his ore fields each time. He's got nothing to stop me there. Very little. And here's my APC. I'm using it to check out where to attack next and what buildings to hit with my Gren drop. Now I've overrun him. There's nothing he can do to stop me, whereas look, I'm building up a decent defensive force, and now he's hit my oil derrick, so I know where he is. And there's my Grenadier drop. It's attacking his construction yard while my APC protects them from the barracks. So there you go, he's losing it. And here's his attack. He's under fire from base defences, 2 of them. And now I can send these units in. I've got a radar dome and I'm finishing off the last of his structures. There's my Grenadier drop. It's still alive. And he's had to fall back here. What hope has he got? He's just trying to defend this. That's all he's got left. Nothing else left. He's got 3 ore trucks and this puny force and a construction yard. But what can he do with that when there's these Grenadiers legging it towards this structure? Everything's coming. Everything's coming for him. APC's proved invaluable in stopping that, in defending this base. There you go. Called it. My opponent's called it, and that's that. So there you go. There's two replays for you. I'll just go through the army graph and charts. Look at that. Look how close we were. So close. In fact, I was slightly behind my opponent, as we know. And then we both suffered about the same amount of losses. It's just my opponent continued to take losses. I think it was because of my attack here. And, you know, he couldn't cope with that. Timing was good because I had this war factory ready to place when he overran my base. So that had made a big difference, having a war factory ready, plus my Grenadier drop. That obviously helped wipe out his base, you see, because my opponent didn't finish my base off. My home base, look, it's still, there's a good chunk of it there. I've got resources to harvest, a refinery, barracks, power, base defences, so I've got a decent little group of assets still there, whereas my opponent obviously has been wiped out. But there's the army graph, look, it's a decent one. Decent scrap. And here's the earnings graph, very close as well. My finishing army is not a lot. I've only got 4 heavy tanks and a few APCs because I had to build APCs to replace my heavy tank production because obviously I've lost my service depot. But between them they did very well. Heavy tanks and APCs, they are a very good combination actually. Once you have a decent sized army of heavy tanks to screen your infantry, then a few APCs is useful because when the enemy's completely committed, you can use a small group of APCs to crush them. Once they're fully committed against your front line, then your APCs will make it in because the enemy's fully committed, and then that's where you can get loads of crushes. And if you can send a few APCs in with the Iron Curtain, then you can single-handedly turn an engagement very quickly with that. When the enemy's, you just let the enemy commit fully into the attack, so they're attacking your units. That way, when your vehicles approach from the correct angle, don't approach from the front because they'll get blasted. Approach from the side or the flanks. That way, not too many enemy infantry will be firing at you as you approach. So there's my finishing army. And combat charts, I've got an 18,000 army value, and I killed 148 of my enemy's units. My opponent killed 113 of mine. Destroyed 50,000 credits worth of their assets, and my opponent destroyed 34,000 credits worth of my assets. And I did lose 16 structures, and my opponent lost 17. So we had a bit of a brawl. That was a good one. No support powers in effect. I do have my radar dome, but I didn't even have a chance to build my thieves. I wasn't even thinking of considering it. I was just desperately trying to fight, handle a Grenadier drop and attack and defend at the same time. I was trying to launch my attack and destroy the enemy base, handle a Grenadier drop, defend my own base, and then make a stand later on for when I've lost my own base. So it was there was a few things I had to multitask in that one. So there's my production. I'm building refinery. I'd probably expand over here, unless I chose to expand forward here. That would have been a good choice, because I could easily defend this or overrun it, and then this I've obviously just overrun, so it's mine. So that is either here or here would be good for an expansion. But there you go, there's production. The economy tab, I've only got 5 ore trucks left because of the damage I took, and he killed a couple towards the end with his final attacks as well. On this side, a couple of my ore trucks. And I've lost all my oil derricks, he's destroyed them all. But I earned 69,000 credits, my opponent earned 55,000 credits, and my opponent's got over 5 grand, I've only got a few hundred credits. But, you know, better spent than not. It's irritating to end with loads of credits. I had a game earlier and ended the game, I had about 8-9 grand. Because I was in low power and things like that can cause you to build up cash, and I was like, it's a shame to end the game with so much cash. It's best to build the units and fight with them. But I was at 32 actions per minute for that one. My opponent was at a relaxed 21 actions per minute. So there's your scores, 490 to me, 344 to my opponent. And there's your stats and basics. So if you like what you saw with those 2 games, give us a sub and a like, and take good care of yourselves, and until next time, goodbye.
Battle control terminated.